The rule before us today provides Congress with yet another opportunity to stand for consumer choice and business innovation in our nation. It provides an opportunity to defend the integrity of our elections, and it provides for a historic opportunity to rein in rogue judges and return public policy decisions to their rightful branches of government.
Honest to God, Mr. Speaker, who asked for these? Which Trump donor wrote these measures? And meanwhile, what aren't we talking about on the floor right now? The tariffs. The tariffs. Not a peep about the tariffs. Not a peep about the chaos in the markets. Not a peep about the uncertainty this is causing. Not a peep about how this is going to screw over middle America. Never in my life have I seen anything like this. The president promised lower prices and a booming economy, and we're going to get higher prices and a recession. This is nuts. Trump isn't using tariffs strategically. He's launching an economic nuclear war, and we're all in the blast zone. This is a disaster. And even if you agree with these tariffs, which is nuts, put that aside. Even if you're a fan, can just one Republican admit that it's insane that one guy is making this call alone? Our founders fought a revolution to stop one person from having this much power. And so-called conservatives are rewriting the rules to dodge a vote in Congress. This is crazy. They're totally fine giving Trump unlimited power to do whatever the hell he wants, and they won't even let us vote.
At the end of the day, our eyes must remain affixed to our very own North Star. Our North Star is governance, Mr. Speaker. Deviating from governing does not serve the American people, nor does it make good on the mandate they entrusted us with. The compromise agreement of dead pairing that was formulated and led by the Speaker and others is grounded in existing precedents, practices, and ultimately common sense. This is a viable pathway forward that meets two critical imperatives. It allows the clockwork and business of this body to remain unabated while extending due deference to our own majority's own governing principles. It is not the prerogative of this Republican majority now, nor will it ever be, to use tools of the minority to secure legislative victories. Republicans are the ones manning the helm here, and we must act like it. In addition, I'll add that I firmly believe, as do many others, that Speaker Johnson's work in addressing the concerns raised last week and taking sizable steps to further intertwine rock-solid family values into the fabric of this House are very commendable. With that, Mr. Speaker, I reserve.
Gentlewoman reserves the balance of her time. Gentleman from Massachusetts.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the gentlewoman from North Carolina for yielding me the customary 30 minutes, and I yield myself such time as I may consume.
Gentleman's recognized.
I have to ask, Mr. Speaker, what the hell is this Republican majority doing? I mean, last week these guys canceled Congress. They went home, all because they don't want new moms and dads to be able to vote. So much for being the party of family values. The gentlelady just said that the Speaker is very much in support of family values, but yet he has a problem with allowing new moms and dads to be able to vote by proxy, but he seems to have no problem with Republican members flying to the West Coast, filming comedy shows in Hollywood, and voting by proxy. I mean, I don't get it. That's what family values means to my Republican friends? It took the Speaker a week. It took the Speaker a whole week to buy off a few votes by offering a pretend deal. And now Republicans are ready to move forward on the important legislative business of, wait for it, passing the same bills they rejected last week. Not that these bills are any better the second time around. A bill that will make it harder for women to vote, a bill to let the Trump administration break the law, and two resolutions that stick it to consumers. You know, a few minutes ago, I sought recognition for a motion allowed under the law to bring a joint resolution to the floor to end just one of Trump's tariffs. And that request was denied because Republicans have rigged the rules. Let me repeat that. Republicans have rigged the rules. And I'll talk more about that during this debate. This is all because Republicans know what's coming, and they're scared. They know people are going to lose their jobs. They know paychecks are going to shrivel. They know prices will go up and retirement plans will go down and businesses are going to stop investing, and they don't want to have to go home and explain it. They don't want to have to put their names on that. So they're rigging the rules so we don't have a vote. Well, guess what? They can run from accountability, but they can't hide from the consequences. You guys own this. You own the tariffs. You own the fallout. There's no plan here, no strategy, just economic self-sabotage. And regular Americans are going to pay the price for these tariffs. This is a disaster for our country, and you guys are too chicken to even vote yes or no whether you support the tariffs. I reserve my time.
Talking about rigging the rules, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle are all too happy to have district judges rig the rules to stop the President of the United States from being able to defend our country. Just last week, within close proximity to my house in Dripping Springs, Texas, 47 individuals who are affiliated with the gang Tren de Aragua were found by ICE right down the road in suburban Austin, Texas. 47 people, including 9 children, what was a stash house, moving narcotics through it. The same gang that killed Jocelyn Dungray last summer, the same gang that was torturing and driving fear into the hearts of the people in Aurora, Colorado, in the apartment complexes that my colleagues on the other side of the aisle refuse to acknowledge. These are all the same people that are being allowed to vote, the same people that we were elected in November to remove from the country. And the President of the United States is commander-in-chief and defending the United States, and as the chief executive is carrying out the laws to remove dangerous individuals from the United States of America. And then an activist district judge in the District of Columbia decided, in his view, he had to step in. He had to step in and try to assert his jurisdiction where it did not belong, to try to stop the President of the United States from removing dangerous gang members that are killing Americans. Now, what happened yesterday? The United States Supreme Court said, whoa, whoa, whoa. You don't get to do that, Mr. District Judge in D.C. If you're going to do this, you have to do this in Texas. Well, that was the whole point. Just today, we had another ruling out of the Supreme Court slapping down yet another activist judge. Now, what are we doing? The gentleman from Massachusetts asked, what are we doing as Republicans? We're putting forward language today that would stop rogue district judges from carrying out nationwide injunctions and temporary restraining orders that are trying to effectively legislate from the bench. Now, we're not alone in that position. The Biden administration's Solicitor General in 2024 told the Supreme Court, Court of Equity may grant relief only to the parties before it. In 2022, that same Solicitor General asked the Supreme Court to address nationwide injunctions. Justice Elena Kagan in 2022 spoke out against the ability of a single judge to stop implementation of a policy across the country. Well, lo and behold, we're advancing bipartisan work to address a bipartisan problem that Democrats have very clearly identified. And the only difference now is that Donald Trump is in the White House instead of Joe Biden. Will the gentlelady yield me an additional minute?
I yield the gentleman an additional minute.
I thank the gentlelady from North Carolina. So again, Republicans have brought forward in a bill that addresses a problem that Democrats have identified as a problem, to say that the parties before the court are the only ones to whom that it should apply, allows for a mechanism to achieve nationwide injunctions through a 3-judge panel. Now, what else are we bringing to the floor? A bill that will say that only American citizens should vote in American elections. Oh, the controversy. Oh, my gosh. Oh, the bloodletting. That we might say in the United States House of Representatives that only American citizens should be able to vote in American elections. But that's what we're doing. Republicans are responding to an American people who are tired of the previous administration that was allowing illegals to come into our country, kill our citizens, vote in our elections, undermine our country. And we are addressing their concerns, and our colleagues on the other side of the aisle don't want to address it. I stand in support of the rule, and I thank the gentlelady from North Carolina.
Gentlewoman reserves the balance of her time. Gentleman from Massachusetts.
Mr. Speaker, I think the gentleman from Texas will be happy to learn that it already is the law that only American citizens can vote in federal elections. I'm happy to send him the law so he can understand that. Our problem with the SAVE Act is that it's an attempt to make it more difficult for women in this country, women who are U.S. citizens, to be able to vote. And talking about rigging the rules, again, there are 4 closed rules in this rule. And for those who are tuning in, that means that we can't offer any amendments, we can't change anything, we just have to take it or leave it. That's called rigging the rules, so that Democrats and Republicans can't participate in the process. And then there's a 5th measure in here, and the gentleman who was just screaming on the floor helped lead the effort to get the Speaker of the House basically to go against the will of the majority in this House, who wanted very much to have an up or down vote on whether or not we could allow new parents to be able to vote by proxy, so that they could actually stay home with their new baby for a brief period of time and be able to represent their constituents at the same time. And what is in this rule is a fake compromise, which they call it. It's a nothing burger. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't help anybody. But basically, we don't even have a chance. We can't debate or vote up or down on that. It is deemed passed. Magically, it is deemed passed in this rule, if this rule gets the majority of vote. So, I mean, and not to mention what I was saying in the very beginning, that Republicans have basically shut off any attempts to bring legislation to the floor to deal with President Trump's tariffs, which, by the way, are going to result in enormous cost increases for consumers. So, I mean, this whole House is being mismanaged. This whole House is being run in a way that, quite frankly, would impress Vladimir Putin. But then again, maybe that's who they want to impress. Mr. Speaker, I'm now happy to yield 3 minutes to the gentlewoman from Colorado, Ms. Pedersen, who led the effort, along with Ms. Jacobs of California, to grant new parents the ability to be able to be good parents, to be able to be with their newborns, and still be able to represent their constituents. I yield her 3 minutes.
Gentleman from Colorado is recognized for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to my colleague from Massachusetts for yielding your time. Mr. Speaker, I rise in opposition to the rule that will kill our bipartisan effort to allow parents who have welcomed a new child to vote remotely. I want to thank Representative Luna for her unwavering commitment to giving moms and dads a voice in Congress. A large majority of the members of the House support changing the way we do things here and make it more accessible to young families and more reflective of the American people. But Speaker Johnson pulled out all the stops to prevent us from moving forward. We followed the rules and filed a discharge petition. We got the 218 signatures necessary to bring it to a vote on the floor. But he went to historic lengths to try to stifle our voices, including blocking our resolution today before we even have the opportunity to vote for it. Even the president supports this and doesn't understand why it's so controversial, and neither does the rest of America. Let's be clear, the changes agreed upon by the Speaker are not a win for us. They do not address the challenges that we've worked so hard to overcome. And the Speaker turned his backs on moms and dads in Congress and working families across the country. Congress is stuck in doing things the way that we did hundreds of years ago, and it's time that we move it to the 21st century. And for all the people who have said that I should resign because I can't do my job, you are completely missing the point. I am absolutely capable of doing my job, but because I'm a woman and because I chose to have a baby, I have been prevented from doing so. I want to thank all of the people who have come on both sides of the aisle in supporting this effort, and I know that our fight is far from over and we're not going to back down. And to the people from across the country who have reached out, inspired to see somebody like them who is struggling to manage having a new baby, balancing work, and having a work environment that does not support their needs. So once again, I want to thank Representative Luna for being a champion, as well as Representative Jacobs and Lawler for all their work on this. We won't stop until we finally get this done. And with that, actually before I'm done, I want to acknowledge Sam. who has now made 4 flights across the country to change hearts and minds and also highlight the need for reform here in Congress. I yield back.
Gentlewoman yields back. Gentlewoman from North Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the solution we are going to vote on today to allow mothers and fathers to continue to represent their constituents and to be able to cast their votes is a great solution. It is one that existed in this Congress before. It is a tried and true method. And it broadens the ability of people who cannot be here to vote, to be able to vote. We've had situations where we've had people rolled in on gurneys to be able to vote. Mr. Speaker, this is a much fairer way to do this in the way that we are doing it now. And I'd also like to remind my colleagues who are speaking against our deal, are not saying we're not dealing with the tariffs issue, is that former Speaker Pelosi, Senator Schumer, and other Democrats railed against Chinese tariffs years ago, but did nothing about them. They even supported President Biden's preserving of the tariffs from the Chinese, and most recently, and they said nothing about it here. President Trump is doing something about the tariffs. He is responding in ways that will strengthen the international economic position of the United States and protect American workers. He is showing leadership where the Democrats have shown none. With that, I reserve.
Gentlewoman reserves. Gentleman from Massachusetts.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, first of all, let me correct the gentlelady from North Carolina. We're not voting on any kind of compromise here. It's being deemed. You got to tuck in the rule, so we don't have a separate vote on it. We're not going to have a separate debate on it. But that's one of the tactics so that we can't actually talk about it on the House floor. Secondly, paired voting, if it was such a good idea, why did we get rid of it 25 years ago? And basically what it is a glorified way to highlight to people that you're absent, that you're not here voting. Ms. Pedersen, if she's not here, her vote won't count. And I mean, it's just a kind of a stupid, ridiculous way to try to deal with the issue at hand, which is that new moms and dads actually should be able to be good moms and dads, stay with their kids at home, and be able to still represent their constituents. And I'd like to yield to the gentlelady, Ms. Pedersen, for any additional comments.
Gentlelady.
Thank you to my friend and colleague for yielding. I understand that my colleague, Representative Luna, has done everything she can to try to find a path forward. And this is ultimately the only option that existed at the end. But this does not address the real barriers that people will continue to face. This would be the last week that I could have been home, still working in my district, working as a member of Congress and representing my constituents, but making sure that I was not traveling across the country with my son. Do you think that there would be one Republican here today that would stand and vote present on the bills this week coming forward on my behalf? I don't think so. This is why this is not a workable solution. This is not going to address when people are unable to be here for medical reasons and for the well-being of their kid after giving birth. And so while I appreciate trying to find whatever common ground we can, this is not a deal, this does not solve our problem, and the work continues.
And Republicans should be ashamed of themselves. I reserve my time.